everyone, today's book review is going to be on You're the Kind of Girl I Write Songs About by Daniel Herborn. This book was sent to me by Harper Collins, so thank you so much for sending me this book, and I hope you guys enjoy this review. This is a spoiler-free review, so don't worry, you can watch to the end and I'm not going to spoil anything for you. You're the Kind of Girl I Write Songs About is about two people, Mandy and Tim, and it's told from dual perspectives, so one chapter is Mandy, one chapter is Tim. Mandy has finished high school and she doesn't really know what to do with her life. She kind of sits around at home, not really doing very much, and she has these kind of dreams, but she's not really pursuing them. She's just kind of living but not really doing that much. And Tim is an aspiring musician, and so he plays gigs on the weekends and after school and stuff, but he's repeating year 12 because he didn't do that great and he wants to do it again so that he can get some better marks. These two characters meet in a pretty regular way. They see each other from across a bar or at a gig, and Tim is playing on stage in this band competition and Mandy sees him and they have this instant connection. And when you first hear that, you probably turn away from it, and I know insta love is something that's really, it kind of gets on my nerves and I really don't like instant love, but it somehow worked in this book and I loved it for that reason. It was told really, really well. You're the Kind of Girl I Write Songs About was kind of an odd book for me because when I first started it and when I first started reading it, I wasn't really that into it, and you know, I was like, I'm gonna finish this book because I don't really have much else to read at the moment, so I kept with it, and I'm so glad I kept with it. The first probably 1/3 of the book was definitely a 2 stars for me. Like, I really could not get through it, and I don't know, it was just something about the book, it was kind of glitching with me and I really wasn't enjoying it as much as I probably should have. But when it kept progressing and the story developed and the characters especially developed, the thing that was kind of irking me the most about the start was that the characters were really plain, and not that they weren't interesting, but they were just really flat and not very interesting, and the plotline just seemed overused and cliche to me. But as the story progressed and as I got further and further into the book and the characters started revealing more about themselves and more about their past, I was really enjoying it, and I'm super surprised by this book because usually if a book doesn't catch me from the start, I'm going to put it down, and this is what I recommend to you guys. If you go out and pick up this book and if you read it, just stick with it, because the first half of the book for me was like a 2 stars. Like, I really wasn't looking forward to the rest of it, but then the end was definitely a 4 stars and I loved the ending, and then altogether it kind of summed up the whole book really well. One aspect about the book that I really liked was all the music in it. It's kind of similar to If I Stay and The Perks of Being a Wallflower, but it's quite different from those books, but it's similar in the aspects that it's about music and it's about teenagers and their interactions with music. And Tim and Mandy have really interesting music tastes, especially for teenagers these days. They love 80s music, they love all the good old music. They don't really listen to this stuff today, and I really liked that because I found some bands that I really enjoy, like Vampire Weekend. I love that band now because this book kind of introduced me to them and I just fell in love. I love Vampire Weekend now, but I just love that about that book, that element of music, and it wasn't jarring or anything like that. It worked really well, and I loved that because it kind of developed the characters more almost with the music. One thing about this book that is really interesting is its really short chapters. The chapters are about 1 page long, and some of them are a bit longer, about 3 to 4 pages, but at first I really wasn't liking the short chapter thing. It felt like it was glitching the story too much because I'd go from reading from one character's perspective to another one, and it was just kind of clashing a bit, and I felt like I couldn't understand the characters because we only got these tiny little glimpses of them and then they were gone. I was okay with it, you know, it was an interesting flavour because you jump between the characters, and I think Daniel Herborn really made it work because at the start I wasn't loving it, but in the end it just gave the book like a unique flavour, and I felt like I had this massive revelation when I was reading this book because, as I said before, the start was just, it was really lacking because the characters held no substance, they didn't really have many aspirations, the plot wasn't really going anywhere, but in the end I felt like it was just a really satisfying read. And if you want something that's just a quick read, like I read this in almost a day, like 2 days, and it was a pretty quick read, and I just flew through it, and it was just a really nice read because it's not too deep, but it's a kind of perfect mix of contemporary and romance because the characters are regular people and regular things happen to them, and they incorporate music really well, and it's a really sweet romance, and I really liked it. Can I just mention how beautiful this cover is? Like, when I saw it on the website of Harper Collins, I was like, wow, that book is beautiful. I hope you guys enjoyed this quick little review of You're the Kind of Girl I Write Songs About. I totally recommend this to anybody who loves contemporary and romance, and just take it from me that you should stick through the book and just read it till the end. You know, it's not that big of a book, so you have no complaints, and I hope you guys all go out and read it. I definitely give this book an almost 4 stars out of 5 just because the start kind of irked me a little bit, so that's why it's not a 4 stars, but I really liked this book, and I just thought it was just a perfect contemporary read, and I think anybody would enjoy it. So if you do go out and read this book or buy this book, make sure to leave a comment in the comments box below and just tell me what you think of it, or just that you bought the book or you read the book, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye! Hey everyone, today's book talk is going to be on Red Queen by Victoria Aveyard. Red Queen follows